Okay, fellas, clearly I'm fired up and ready to go. I can't believe the playoffs are literally tomorrow afternoon. It's so awesome. I can't wait. I'm so pumped up. Let's talk about this series. We take on the Brooklyn Nets. And some fans, you know what? They're scared of that. They're scared because of, well, in the regular season, we had a tough time with them, and we split the season series 2-2, and the way they play their pick and roll game, and their guards always go off. I'm scared. Stop. The Sixers will take care of business in this series. My prediction, Sixers in 5. If you ask me, am I leaning more towards 6 or 4? I'll say 6, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a close series. I really do believe the Sixers are going to take care of business, and it's because of one man. And when I ask you this question, who's going to guard Joel Embiid? You can say that in any series, realistically, but with the Nets, there's actually nobody who will be able to stop him. He is the X factor in this series. If he's going to go, which obviously we know the noise from Elton Brand and Brett Brown lately, if he's ready to go, there should be no reason why the Sixers won't go out there and handle business and get the job done. There's no way Joel Embiid will be stopped by this team. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets, a nice story, a nice little team. They have had some success. D'Angelo Russell, that's all great. Youthful squad, entertaining. But they're not ready to take down a legitimate team like the Sixers yet. They're just not ready. This was a nice step for them, a nice little season. But there's no way they're going to be able to take down the 76ers in a best-of-7 series. All right, so first off, take a look around last year's playoffs. Teams that even if the first round goes a little longer than expected, that has no outcome on the future down the line. I mean, take a look at the Boston Celtics last year, for example. Let's be real. Just because one series in the beginning goes longer than expected, they still go to the Eastern Conference Finals and go to Game 7 there. So I do lean more towards 6 than I do 4. My guess is Sixers in 5, though. So just taking a look here at what we have in front of us, this is Brett Brown's future. This playoff run is Brett Brown. This is his chance to prove to the fan base he's either going to be here, he has enough to be here, or he doesn't have enough to be here. So he has a lot of pressure on him, and one thing I hated was his statements to the media in regards to this matchup, and it's scary, knowing that we need help on pick-and-roll defense. This is a brutal matchup for us. I didn't like the way he approached that. You got to be like, listen, okay, show some confidence. Be a dog as a coach. Say, listen, they're a good team. They're a nice, fun, exciting team, but I like our roster. I like our starters. I think our team has enough in the tank to be able to get by the Brooklyn Nets. There's no reason to say, I'm scared. So I didn't like that approach out of Brett Brown, but that's what he's done all year. I didn't expect anything different, to be honest with you. He always loves to give credit to the other team. That's his thing. He likes to give credit to the other opponent when we lose. Or, oh, you got to give credit to that team. You got to give credit to this team. So this is him giving credit to the Brooklyn Nets, but I didn't like the approach on that. Not that that means anything. That's nitpicking, really. I'm dissecting words to the media about a playoff series, just giving props to another squad, but I didn't like that approach. So let's take a look here at some of the games against the Brooklyn Nets so far this season. The last one was when we had 5 of our starters, right? And it was a convincing, easy win down at the Wells Fargo Center. So that's what I like to see. And when I tell you Joel Embiid was an X factor and will be an X factor in this series, in 28 minutes, he had 39, 13, and 6. All right? So, I mean, that just tells you that they don't have anyone even close or even relatively decent enough to be able to stop the beast of Joel Embiid. Okay, so you take a look at the other games, and there were a couple losses thrown in there. One of the losses, Furkan Korkmaz was playing some good minutes, and no Jimmy Butler, and we ended up losing by 3. The other one, it was Dario, Robert Covington, and Markelle Fultz were playing serious minutes. You just can't compare it. We also had a win with Jimmy Butler, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, and Furkan Korkmaz playing minutes. You really can't compare those 3, but I'm just saying, when you take a look at the roster differences, Furkan Korkmaz playing all these minutes. Wilson Chandler. It doesn't compare. When our starters played, when our 5 starters played, it was a convincing, easy win, and it was our most recent win against the Brooklyn Nets, and that's what I expect out of the 76ers in this series. I don't like to hear the talk of we suck, we're not going to be able to do this, we're not going to be able to handle this. Yeah, we should be. We should be able to handle this. Stop just overreacting to the late run of the regular season there. Because I'll tell you this. Yeah, we went in cold this year. Let's be real. We went in cold in the playoffs. We went in hot as hell last year. Where did that bring us? So, I mean, really, you got to weigh it. Where did going hot into the playoffs take us last year? A second-round exit in 5? All right, well, we'll see what happens this year. Going in cold. There's been studies all over the place in regards to how that is really a myth and how that doesn't actually relate to what goes on in the playoffs. I need a sip of coffee. See, I waited to do this on the Friday before because I wanted to wake up, put on my Ben Simmons jersey, have some coffee, talk about the Sixers. Is there anything better than that when you wake up in the morning? Tell me a better sequence than waking up. Yeah, you brush your teeth, right? I forgot that. You brush your teeth. You put on your Ben Simmons jersey. You make your coffee. You smell it when it comes out. Oh, it's great. And then you talk about the Sixers playoffs. Nothing better. It's amazing. It's amazing. One thing I want to take a look at this series, though, is Ben Simmons. Because I think Ben Simmons is going to cause a problem later in the playoff run. Because he's just not there yet. He's 22. We saw his flaws last year, and he's just not there yet. He still needs to add more to his game to be more of a dynamic, effective, insane playoff type of player. But in this series, speaking of this series of Brooklyn and Philadelphia, he should be able to do his thing. He should be able to get his. He should be able to dominate, go hard to the rim, go hard to the rack. I'm going to assume the Brooklyn Nets are going to study the Sixers and see what the Boston Celtics did, see what the Milwaukee Bucks did, and try and implement that. But Ben Simmons is just way stronger than these players out there on the Nets. He should be able to expose them and take control in this series. Later on down the line, we'll address the Ben Simmons thing because I do believe he's not there yet. But as for this series, I need to see him handle business. So Joel Embiid is the real factor because there's just no one possible on the Nets roster to give him a hard time. But I want to see Ben succeed in this series. I need to see what Jimmy Butler is going to do. Because do you remember last year, and it's hard for me to talk about it with this series just because I think we're going to take care of business, but last year TJ McConnell was a factor when we took Ben Simmons off the ball against the Celtics because of the way they played him. I know I shouldn't get into this right now, and we'll attack it deeper down the line in playoffs, but I wonder if Jimmy Butler is going to get primary ball handler moments outside of just the fourth quarter because of that. And I'm just saying I want to see, and it goes hand in hand with this series because I want to know how we use the other players. What's Tobias going to be like? How's Jimmy Butler going to be utilized? Is it just going to be the fourth quarter? Is he going to be more of a dog because this is his lifestyle? This is the moments he lives for, the playoffs. That's the type of mentality he has. So is he going to play out differently? Is he going to have the ball in his hands? So it goes hand in hand. The only big thing that concerns me is this bench problem. Because outside of Mike Scott, what else do we have that is serviceable? You know? Like, we have a 6-man rotation that we all trust. What else do we have? Like, Boban, I'm leaning more towards Greg Monroe. That's reality. I'm leaning more towards Greg Monroe, and what does that tell you? Seriously, think about it. Is Jonah Bolden going to be getting more minutes? Now that James Ennis is out, which really does hurt, we might actually have to rely on Zahir Smith. Or do we go with Jonathan Simmons, someone who was a little bit more NBA experienced? But even if these aren't guys that I'm comfortable with, these are guys that are just going to have to eat 5, 6, 7 minutes for us, and we're going to have to rely on our starters to pump us out 40 minutes. So the bench does concern me. Once again, not really for this playoff series in particular, we should be able to handle this team. I know that their pick and rolls are good, and that's what we struggle on. I get all that. We should be able to handle this team. The last time we played with the 5 starters, Russell was held to 13 points. D'Angelo Russell was held to 13, Dinwiddie 13. There were times when they did their thing and had 30 plus and all that. I remember. But I think we should be able to handle this. My guess here is Sixers in 5. And once again, I lean more towards 6 than 4. But that's just because, you don't win every single game. But I still think the Sixers win this bad boy pretty easily. The series isn't going to be a sweat. And hopefully this gives us some confidence moving forward. I want to know your thoughts down below on this series. I'm telling you what, though, I am so pumped and amped up and ready to go. I can't wait. I seriously cannot wait. It's going to be so exciting. 2:30 Saturday. Nice little afternoon game. I am so pumped and so amped up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Go Sixers. Come on, believe. Do not fall in this trap that we're going to lose in the first round. Believe. Let's go, boys.